The New Orleans Pelicans love Herb and Herb Jones way too much to get rid of either one. I'm Cheddar Chaz. That's Lito. We got 5 in the building. Shout out to Ross. Justin is out, so we can really talk out about the curse. Let's get to the show.
First took away. Yes, with this. Get your money's worth now.
This program is brought to you by the Scott Victor Injury Lawyers. Have you been injured in any car accident? Justin typed this terrible. Let me start from the beginning. This program is brought to you by Scott Victor Injury Lawyers. Have you been injured in any type of accident? Car, truck, 18-wheeler, or offshore? Scott Victor handles it all. Give them a call, y'all, at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. Yes, free consultation. They always fight for the win. Gentlemen, how you doing this evening?
What's poppin'?
Not much, man. Why you guys are joining this, relevant podcast is so few these days in the Pelican space. Please be sure to hit the like button. Click the like button. Share the broadcast. You know what I'm saying? Donate something to the super chat. We're trying to put a new roof on the studio. We taking donations. Yeah. Shout out to Theo's, man. Shout out to Company Burger, John Deere. No one runs like a deer. Standard Mortgage. I hope you meet the standard. And so we got a lot of big news today. A lot of big news came out. This is supposed to be our time off, but it's like it's more busy than ever. Shams has come out and he has some pretty damning information. I don't need to see Shams for a little while, honestly.
Man,
because Shams he ain't never got nothing good to say. He ain't never got breaking news, three-team deal. He ain't say that in a while. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we miss Woj. But yeah, so of course, title of the broadcast, Pelicans considering trading Herb Jones, or they're entertaining fielding calls, listening to offers for Herb Jones is probably a more appropriate headline or talking point. So I'm just gonna come out and just address the elephant in the room. Do you think any of you guys think the Pelicans are potentially looking to trade Herb Jones? Well, here's the caveat: if the right deal presents itself, or do you think he's just totally untradeable?
Let me just start by saying this. When the last time y'all had a graham cracker? That shit good, dog.
I have one a day, dog.
Does a Teddy Graham count?
Same thing.
Same flavor.
Same.
Yeah. Then yes, and those things do slap.
Hey, bro, them shit's underrated. They underrated, dog.
Snacks, man.
Yeah, they underrated, dog. It's two answers to that. Obviously, for me as a fan of the game, like you absolutely love what Herb Jones brings to your team.
Shout out to Chris, man.
Fuck him. And you would hate to see him. You would hate to see him, leave. But also as a fan, you would want your team to do everything in the best interest of winning. Right?
Facts.
With that being said, I think if a good deal comes along, whatever that looks like for Herb, as a fan, as much as I would hate to see Herb leave, I would be more upset they didn't listen to the deal. To just to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying you gotta make the trade, but see what's out there. Do I believe that they're gonna trade Herb Jones? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can't trade Herb Jones. Like you if you're them, they're sitting there like, man, the only feel good story you got on the team is the East Missy. The city love Herb. So with all this shit going on with them, if you think they can move him and can maintain goodwill, no.
5.
I think Herb is the equivalent to Alvin Kamara in a sense, right? Like he is the linchpin. He is the leader of your team. For so long, he didn't even have like the captain reference, like a logo on his jersey until Rizzi became the coach. Like I think he has that sort of impact on your basketball team. And we had a conversation earlier talking about Herb. You'd probably get less pushback from the city of New Orleans or just Louisiana in general if you traded Zion or Brandon rather than trading Herb. Like that's how beloved he is. I think he's good enough. The fact that we're even at this point isn't like a, indentation of Herb, right? Like it's not because of him that you look in the trade. It's not like he's playing bad. No, it's the things around him that are forcing you, like, this is like the only tradable good thing that you have. So people are calling because they know that guy can play basketball at a high level on a championship level team. The only issue is the Pelicans don't have a championship level team. So people are just calling to extract that. The Pelicans are really operating like a G League team. People continue to call and extract talent from this organization because they do not know how to develop it. That's really why we're having this conversation. It's the organization. It has nothing to do with Herb.
We got Malik Wall in the super chat. There's a Herb Jones day, and they are not trading Herb. I mean, hey, Martin Luther King Day. He ain't around, but Ross. So what are your feelings on the shout out to Joey Silva in that super chat.
Appreciate you.
Hey man, you kiss ass, things happen, Joey Silva. But Ross, you got you're seeing this. Me and you talk about this sometimes. It's like you can't fall in love with role players. Of course, Herb is an impact player on this team. What do you think? Because I could tell you're probably a little conflicted about it, as we all are. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's two sides of it for me. I mean, one is I think the point Five just alluded to, which is it's really an indictment on the organization as a whole, that Herb Jones is the only, is the only, people are sniffing around the team to try to take the only value you have league wide, and that's Herb Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's calling about anybody else. Like you don't see reports about anybody calling. When they tried all offseason, apparently to trade Brandon, couldn't get it done. Nobody wants Zion. Like the fact that your best tradable asset, your best value is dude you took in the second round, a couple years back is really damning to me. So that's one part of it. And look, and good on Herb Jones for turning himself into a good player. Yeah. The other side of that is like, we've had this conversation, like, is this the ceiling for Herb? How much better can Herb get? And I know we have this conversation around, hey, look, if you get a new coach, maybe there's things he can unlock that we haven't seen yet. Maybe. But now you're trusting the organization to make multiple decisions that will unlock things for players. I struggle with that. I think if one, are they going to do it? I doubt it. I don't think they have the guts to make moves like that. We talk all the time about this team does not take risk. This organization does not take any risk.
Right.
And trading Herb would be a risk because you would have to be able to justify the blowback you would get publicly. Why would you trade this guy? He's a fan favorite. Everybody, he plays hard, all this stuff. It doesn't mean that trading Herb Jones can't make your team better today and tomorrow. It absolutely could make your team better. But this team they're not going to go fight that battle publicly. They're not going to play that type of PR game. So they're not going to trade him. But I think if you really take a step back and look at the roster, look at the cap sheet, look at your options, if somebody's willing to pay for Herb Jones and you don't consider it, then you're not trying to win and improve the roster to be a championship contender. You're just having the team here to have players that people like and whatever.
Go ahead, Fi.
Yeah. To that point, right? Like, say if you did trade Herb Jones, right? Cool. There better be multiple moves directly following that move. It better not be, hey, we're trading the salary to make sure we can pay somebody else. No. You trade Herb Jones, right? I consider Herb Jones as a foundation. You break foundation, you got to rip everything up. Everything got to go. The house, the car, the kids, everybody got to get the fuck up out of here, right? Everything needs to be reset. So you have to, again, you make that move, there needs to be multiple moves preceding a Herb Jones trade.
We got Malik Ball back at Super Chat said, Willie Green not going in 24 hours. Put me on the trade block, brother. I ain't mad at you. I got you. Hold on. 1 second.
Give that to Willie Green. and tell him I want him out of here in 24 hours. And 23 of them are already gone. You understand?
That's a gangster ass threat. I ain't gonna lie. That is a gangster threat. But, man, to me, the immediate question has to be trade him for what? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Right? I'm looking at Herb Jones. Herb Jones is 26 years old. He's in his prime, but a player like that, he'll probably age a bit gracefully because he's a low usage player. But my thing has always been, with Herb Jones right now, under Willie Green's tutelage and coaching, I think he's not only peaked, I think he's regressing. If you thought last season was the peak, then he's regressing right now. And he's coming back from injury, of course. So now you can say, oh, well, shit, the injuries are starting to come in and, things like that. For me, it's, if I can see, that's the thing, even with Brandon. See, and I hate to use this terminology. With Herb Jones, I'm not necessarily trying to sell. Someone asked would I trade Herb Jones for 4. Absolutely. I don't care where the picks came from. I don't care what team traded me 4 picks. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm trading them for 4 picks. I don't give a fuck where they came from. But also, if I could buy with Herb Jones, then I do that probably 9 times out of 10. Like if you tell me I could get Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, players of that tier, even Therese Halliburton. If you're telling me I can get those type of players with Herb Jones as a not a throw-in, but as an additional player in a trade, to me it's really no question. Yeah, you do that all the time, and the Pelicans will be foolish for not entertaining the call. I kind of tweeted something out earlier. I want to ask y'all this because I have a theory on this, but whose fault do you think this is? Because like this, because Justin, he's his position is he thinks it's more so. I don't want to speak for Justin. Justin, correct me if I know you ain't hearing that. Correct me if I'm wrong, or am I taking your words out of context? He thinks it's more of a result of Brandon and Zion not being reliable. So of course you have to trade Herb and Dyson, people like that, your younger players, because they're the more attractive trade assets, as Ross mentioned before. But do you guys think maybe it's someone else's fault? Maybe it's Willie Green's fault. Maybe it's Zion's fault. Maybe it's Brandon's fault. Maybe it's Griff's fault. Who would you put the onus on that no one, well, virtually none of your big main players are coveted across the league? We'll talk about CJ in a second, but who do you guys put that onus on?
Grand scheme of things, everybody has to take a little bit of blame in this, right?
Yeah.
But I always felt like I got to put this at Willie Green's feet, just because I've always go back to saying like you cannot judge players if you don't have like a foundation, like right, you don't have principles, like you're not. People around the league can't look at your team and be like, okay, they run this offense. This offense is similar to what I want to run. All right, this is how they're using them. If you watch the Pelicans play, it's almost like they're playing pickup basketball. It's like we got a bunch of street ballers out there, and now they're highly skilled individuals, cool, but they don't run anything or do anything that wows you. Like Zion's athleticism is cool, but like late in the game, like you know how to guard that because they don't run anything that you can say like, all right, I can envision him in this sort of offense. They've been running this for X amount of years. This is what they do well. This is what they don't do well. You really just don't know. So again, I always go back to if you had principles, if you're a offensive minded coach, this is what you did a lot, then that's how you can grade a player, and that's how people will be able to covet you. They can't do that because they don't have anything to stand on.
Yeah, there's a comment. Trying to find it right here. This answers it for me because I think it kind of checks the box Jared just alluded to. And as far as I'm concerned, as soon as Brandon Ingram turned down the reported $45 to $50 million deal a couple years back, his ass would have been fucking gone. So he shouldn't even be here as far as I'm concerned. As soon as he turned that deal down, he did you a favor, by the way. But as soon as he turned that deal, that would have let me know where he was mentally and what he was looking for, and that you weren't going to be able to provide that. So the reason he doesn't have any value around the league is your fault because he shouldn't be here anyway. And so I put so much of it on David Griffin because I think a lot of this Zion stuff, even though I would say about half of it is Zion the person, the other half is David Griffin not holding him accountable, not setting a standard, not being tougher on him early on. He created some of those problems. So I really put the overwhelming majority on David Griffin or people he's hired, right? I mean, who's in charge of the draft, right? I mean, this Jordan Hawkins thing, we now find out that he's had a degenerative back issue going back to college. Well, whose fault is that? It's the people that drafted him. It's not the player's fault.
Right.
So some of these cases, the players drafting, some of these players, the people we're giving money to, some of it's not holding people accountable, but all of that to me falls back to the person in charge, and that's David Griffin. He's fucked this up from the jump.
You know what's funny, and that's why David Griffin just lacks integrity across the board, because he was the first person to come out and say, yeah, you're either all the way in or you're all the way out, right? He's the first person to come out and say that. And this Brandon Ingram thing is kind of, well, he's all the way out, Griff. You wanna lock the door behind this brother, but he just, I would have thought trading Brandon would be right up his anus. I mean, right up his alley.
That's a freaky ass ultimatum he gave. That's crazy.
Hey, look, man, you either all the way in, all the way out.
What talks he having, man?
Yeah, Lito, who you blame for this conundrum? Everybody
got a hold of quarter. Griff got a hold of quarter. Willie got a hold of quarter. Zion and Brandon got a hold of quarter. Due to them, the players due to them because they not available. I can't rely on them. There's nothing I can do to rely on them. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody hit a move before, right? Like you already know at the end of the day, if it ain't nobody, is one person you could call and be like, dog, I need help moving my shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got one person you could call. Dog, we don't got nobody.
Don't call me for that.
Nah, don't call me no more. You gotta hire me.
Yeah, you gotta hire me. I'm too old.
I ain't doing that shit no more.
And you live on the 5th floor. Go ahead.
But like, yeah, man. Like we gotta rely on Trey. You can't really rely on Trey. You relying on Herb. You relying on like people to play above their level. You like Jose Alvarado is an impact player on this team, and no disrespect to him, but like he should probably be the 12th best player on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like he shouldn't be a guy who you looking at to play 30 minutes, score 17 points, get 7 assists and 3 steals. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, to Shane's comment, I tweeted this earlier. I said, turning down 50 mil, that's a choice. That's a choice, right? Like that's crazy. Also, from the data that you have, from knowing what you know, from seeing what you have on the floor, the product, offering 50 mil is a choice.
Yeah.
Hey, can we talk about that though?
Yeah, we could definitely address this segment.
I gambled on you, and you gambled on a crackhead.
Dog.
It's unbelievable. Go ahead, Five.
No, I mean you wanna set the precedent. I mean,
all right. So today, Shams come out with more bad news. Old bad news, Shams. This whole thing is a fucking sham. So old bad news, Sham. He comes out and he's he's stating more of the obvious. Brandon will either be traded or extended. Breaking news. But he says that a couple seasons ago. Now, mind you, this is the toe year and the concussion year. Shout out to the former medical staff. This is the concussion year. And Brandon, he misses 2 months with that toe injury. And David Griffin supposedly offers him a contract upwards of $50 million that year. Right? Following, Brandon turns it down. Of course, he's thinking he can go for all NBA. That's why I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but that's why I'm saying, try to stay sober. Try to stay sober. And so he's taking someone's advice. It could be his now former agency. I don't know. Following off season, they, supposedly offered Brandon a contract upwards of $40 million. Still a pretty pretty drastic overpay, but he then denies that. And if you guys remember during his press conference, he said, I'm here to try and get this money, man. I'm here to get this money. I'm doing what I got to do. He proceeded, to enter the offseason with high expectations, went to FIBA, had, I'm let the numbers speak for themselves. Gets hurt again. Following off season, you can't give him away. Now, I'm about to pass this to you, Five. Who in this equation do you think is suffering from self-realization, self-reflection, self-awareness issues? Is it Brandon? Is it David Griffin? Is it his now former agency? Who do you think in that equation is out of their mind?
Oh, they having a powwow. They got the best weed in the hot box I've ever, walked by. Like, I don't know what's going on, dog. Bro, you got offered you should have just taken the 50. I don't know what's
there to talk about.
What would you? Like, what more would you have wanted?
See, that's my question.
That's the max. His max was 50. Like, I don't understand. Like, you're talking about he turned down.
And this is the crazy part, right? We never heard it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't hear about this. I didn't. Like, it's almost as if Shams let this out on accident.
I have a theory about that too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Shams hasn't really been great since Woj left. Like, it's almost like his. Like, he really hasn't been great, but he put this out there as if everybody knew, and we're like, wait, that they offered him the 50? Like, what else did he want? Oh, what if it was 47? Like, your agent said no to that? Like, y'all walked away, y'all buffed at that, and then got mad when they offered you 40 and said no again. So you doubled down on the no. It's all bad. It's all bad. Yeah. Fire your agent. Somebody got to get fired. We're looking at the same issues right now with the Pelicans. Like, you've done such a bad job at managing this. Somebody had to get fired for you to save face. And the Pelicans should do the same. Like, people should get fired. But to offer Brandon $150 million was crazy to begin with. Crazy to begin with. But then the double back. Oh, yeah, it's all bad. If I'm Brandon, I don't know what Brandon does at this point.
Bro, I'm like, man, and what Five said, I've been like, ever since Sham said that, like, I've been kind of like, dog, what do you value yourself as? Like, I want to know what his number was. It's got to be something crazy, dog, because like, man, bro, turning down 50 million. Well, first turning down 40 million.
No,
right?
The 50 was first.
Oh, the 50 was first.
And I can't stress this enough. You got to understand, the max he could have gotten, I think, was 4 years and 208. So 50, 51, 52 a year. I think his max at that time would have been a 4-year extension for $208 million, which is $52 million a year.
It's crazy because
Gilbert Arenas 200 to chase 208.
Gilbert Arenas literally had a show recently where he said, "Don't lose 90 million chasing 10 million." He literally had a show saying that. Lito, you were saying?
Yeah. And like, it's just wild the I guess the lack of self-awareness in the situation, to be honest, on both sides, right? Because, like, you knew at the end of the day, like y'all said before the show was even, we got this far on the show, bro. Once you turn down that 50, get the fuck out. It's like me proposing to you, right? And you telling me no, and you think we gonna continue to be in a relationship. You don't get the fuck out of here. Like, bro, shit is over.
This is the comparison I said Brandon turning down 50 million. And mind you, this is after the 2 months for the toe. I said, that's like him robbing a bank, right? He robbed the bank. He got away, right? They gave him the money, he got away. And he found out it was like a $5,000 reward. and he called the police and turned himself in for the $5,000 reward. It's like, bro, I want to blame Jeff Schwartz. I want to blame the agency. I do. But I'm like, me knowing like from behind the scenes things that Brandon, he sees himself as something else. Like he kind of see himself as like Tracy McGrady or something out of here that I don't even know if I believe the agent was like, well, Brandon, you always hurt. So it would make sense for us to not get as much money as possible. Yeah, Brandon, that makes perfect sense. Like, or Brandon, you think you have a chance at being one of the best 15 players in the league moving forward to get an all NBA nod? You think you got a chance based on what? And like lastly, I think to me that didn't come from Rich Paul. That didn't come from Rich Paul. To me, that came from Jeff Schwartz.
Yep.
To me, that came from Brandon's former agency. Could I think, and I'm guessing, but I think that's their way of saying this motherfucker fired us. He's insane. Like y'all don't realize he's crazy because what reason would Rich Paul have to give Shams that information? You know what I'm saying? And the only other people that will be privy to that information would be the Pelicans and Jeff Schwartz. So either the Pelicans are saying, no, he's crazy, we're not mistreating him. But then if you put that information out there like that, you're depressing his value to other teams because they don't want to take on the head case. The last option is the disgruntled ex-employee who may feel like he was done wrong because no matter what Brandon get, he's going to cost his ex-agency some money because they're not going to get a part of that deal. And Jeff Schwartz just negotiated a sweet deal for Trey Murphy with the same New Orleans Pelicans. So I think it was Brandon who walked away from that money.
Bro,
go ahead. My bad,
Lito. I was just gonna say, if you're Jeff Schwartz, dog, you had to feel like you won.
You had to. Shout out to Corey, 150 in the chat, 53 likes. Hit the like button. My bad, 5. Go ahead,
all good.
Hit the like button.
Nobody tripping on that, dog. You had to feel like you won. Like you got away with murder.
It was over.
It was over. Ski mask up. Like you was out the door. And it was as if Brett, this is what we assume, right?
Yeah.
As if Brandon, like, nah, we ain't gonna steal it that way. What? What? This is the game.
Yeah.
This is the game. We did all the work. This is it.
Yep. I could just imagine Brandon saying, Jeff saying to Brandon, "Hey, Brandon, let's go down there and fuck one of those bulls." And Brandon looked at Jeff. He said, "Nah, Jeff, let's walk down. Fuck them all." And in the end, you got fucked. The most damning part was Sham said, we don't even, like the Pelicans supposedly, like we can't even bring you back at your current salary. So now you're looking at a pay decrease, potentially. And you hurt. You literally got carried by both arms and legs through it was like, come on. But go ahead.
I think that so a couple things. I think Brandon is definitely not playing another game this season for the Pelicans.
Ooh.
I think that his injury situation is already fucking up the money, right? And and now you hurt again, and you in a spot where I feel like I don't know this. This is just like me literally like making this shit up as I go, but like why would I allow my player or my client to be on the floor to potentially injure himself again when we don't even know if we don't even technically have a handshake deal with y'all in place, his current team. And dog, Chaz, I feel you. I feel like that information came from Griff.
I can see it, bro. I can see that too. But what you think, Griff? You think he's trying to depress his value so he can sign him for like 25, 30?
Yep. I'm trying to show y'all like I did good business. You know what I'm saying? I gave him a fair offer. I gave him a fair offer. Actually, I was more than fair, to be honest.
I was insane.
I was more than fair, to be honest. I was operating in good, you know what I'm saying, under good tactics, and he's still rejecting me. So
bro. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. And then you got shout out to Brian Windhurst. He puts out another thing like this was after all the sham shit. Brian Windhorst puts out another article on the Hoop Collective. Is a video saying David Griffin made him another offer this offseason trying to keep him. Here, go clip.
Santa baby, this slip was sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, just hurry down the chimney tonight.
So he just turning down Griff left and right. He's just turning down Griff left and right. Have some self-respect, Griff. Go ahead, Fi.
Nah, I just keep going back to like the agency, and to be honest, what really made me think about it, what if he would have taken that deal?
Jesus.
Yeah, dog. Dog. You know what kind of shit we would be in at this point, bro? Shout out to Ezekiel, man. 2-piece, man.
Oh, shout out to my dog Zeke. He said 50. What is the G unit?
Bro,
man.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
Being a voice of reason of all the madness that's going on. But dog, if Brandon would have signed that contract,
this roster would look drastically different. You would not have had money to sign Trey. I think probably you wouldn't have had money to do the Murray deal. CJ would probably already be gone. It would look a lot different.
Y'all remember all them years that the Wizards couldn't trade John Wall?
Dog, that's what I thought about today.
And you're in an even worse cap time now. That's why, like, it sounds crazy when you say it like 2-3 years ago, but I was like, bro, if you resign Brandon, it's over. Like you've literally like just forfeited 5 or 6 future seasons of this organization. Just it's done. Like it's done at this point.
And that's what makes me. You talk about the John Wall situation. My bad, Chaz.
No, go ahead.
John Wall situation. When he got traded to Houston, they told him not to come.
Stay home, John.
Stay at home. They literally told him, just stay at home. We good. We got it.
And you look at the situation right now with the Phoenix Suns. Shout out to Shane, always in the building. Shout out to everybody in that chat, man. Make sure y'all smash the like button. We appreciate y'all rocking with us on the impromptu show. Go ahead, Ross.
They offered him the Bradley Beal contract.
Yep.
That's what they offered him. Beal got the 5th year because he did that deal when he was in Washington. But they offered him 5 years at $50 million a year, or 4 years and $50 a year. Beal got, I think, 5 and $251, which is $50 million a year. That's what this to me is what's insane. Because if you believe that he turned down $50 million a year, then you were basically saying he turned down 200 to risk everything to get 208. No, that's fucking tax money. That's money you will never see anyway.
Yeah.
Like it makes no logical sense. And that's why I don't actually believe the number that was 50.
Yeah, I believe it was probably like 45 and escalating.
Yeah, I think it was definitely in that 43 to 45 range, maybe escalating in the last year to 50, but it was something that would have landed him closer to like maybe 160 mil over 4 years, 165, to where then he sits back and says, I might be leaving 40 mil, 45 mil on the table here. Let's see. That. Because I truly think an agent might have dropped him if you turn down 200 to chase 208.
Think so? Oh, you're saying if that happened, an agent would have?
Yeah, in an extension, 2 years ahead of time, 2 years ahead of when you would have been due for the money, to not lock in what would have mounted to a max extension is crazy work.
You're talking about
literal insanity.
Potentially being a fucking second apron team and a lottery team simultaneously. Shout out to Cash Patel in that super chat. Your best ability is availability. Amen. Absolutely. And you got Zeke.
What the saying is, Chaz? You can't make the club in the tub, brother. Can't make the club in the tub.
I know
again. My bad, Ross. I just want to get the Zeke super chat. Zeke back in that super chat with that 2-piece. Say BI was definitely fucking spiders, bro. What the hell? Hey man, dude spent a lot of time in Australia. Shout out to all the Aussies in the building, man. But go ahead, Ross.
No, it's kind of in relation to this comment, I guess, a little bit. I saw something pop up on X a couple days ago, and and I know we've talked about this before. Did B.I. date a midget or a small person? I'm not sure what the logical.
I think I saw there was like a meme going around. Now she could have just been 4'11" because B.I. is 6'8". You know, maybe it just looked like that. But she was petite.
A small. He dated a small person. I'm just trying to put parameters around.
I've heard things.
Yeah. So you're trying to figure out who I'm dealing with here.
A little bit to turn down 200 mil.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
a little bit, and I mean, nothing. Yeah. Hey, nothing against a.
Nah, Ross. Ross. I see what you. My bad, Paul.
No. I'm with you. I'm saying, yeah, you.
Yeah, no, Ross. I see what you're saying. You
trying to put two and two together.
No. You saying he thinking small?
Exactly.
Hey, like, and truthfully,
I see.
Again, bro. I'm trying to understand because, all right, I was doing some numbers, right? And this even like Ross, when you mentioned the DeJounte Murray deal, it even dealt, all this stuff is related, right? Herb, Dyson, DeJounte Murray, Brandon, it's all related because thick elbows and knees, oh man, cankles. But little bow-legged pigeon toe cankles. But this show's getting off the rails here. So
no Justin, no problem.
Yeah, like, all right, DeJounte Murray has incentives in his contract that are about $1.9 million, right? So if this is 65 games played incentive, right? If he misses 18 games, the luxury tax penalty falls to about 859 G's, right? So he's missed 17, so he's got to miss one more game, and they're about 800 over the tax, and with waves, it's easier to get out at that standpoint, right? But somebody mentioned that Sham said he respects Brandon to have a more robust market in February, but I don't even think you can wait till February, because since when do markets get more robust in February or as the season progresses? Because if he got hurt in December and it's February and they like, well, damn, he ain't even back yet. Then what happens? Oh shit! Super chat. Hold on, Stout Man. Just 2750. You'll look good in the city. Shout out to Stout Man. Just for fun, can y'all try to guess who the starting five will be next season? Crazy work for sure. Appreciate you, Stout Man, aka Uncle Phil, and that super chat. We definitely gonna talk about that.
Ross, dog.
Definitely talk about that. Go ahead. Was it encore? That was a little crazy, Ross. The chat's in an uproar. But yeah, so if you think about it, bro, again, you talk like, and even with Brandon right now, Brandon has a trade kicker. If Brandon turned down close to 50, because I don't think Sham's making it up. So if Brandon turned down close to 50, he not turning down no 41 million. No, he got like it's 6. I think it's 15%. He got 15% trade kicker. So that's about 5 million, little 5. So that's going to bring his outgoing salary to about 41 million. He not about to turn down that extra 5 million. So that's going to make him even harder to trade. This, like, what the fuck?
Do you believe, like, once it gets closer to February, teams are going to be jousting for playoff position or trying to, boost up, get that third scorer, and maybe Brandon is that? Do you think that's what they're referring to as February gets closer? Like, maybe, just maybe, Brandon Ingram is the championship piece to a championship team. Maybe.
Do I feel like Brandon Ingram is a championship?
Yeah, like, do you think some teams could, trick themselves to believe that Brandon is that missing piece or that third scorer to that team?
Okay, so third scorer. I ain't mad at that. If you're a good team and you got a foundation, right? I ain't really mad if you telling me he could be the third best player on the team and you wanna, like, yeah, I think 1 and 2 are out of his range of, right, like, realism. But like, I was just talking to Dylan on Twitter about that too, because he said BI averaged like 24, 5 and 5, and we were talking about whether that's elite or not. And I'm like,
19 shots. 19 shots.
I'm like, look, in my opinion, when I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? It's a good player, but it's not an elite player. And he shot back and he said Devin Booker was fourth in MVP voting when he averaged 24, 4-4, some shit like that. And I guess my thing, like, I'm not gonna compare those two guys. I'm not gonna compare them. They completely two different games. I do feel like if Brandon was like the third or fourth option on a team, like you know, I could see a team buying it.
Yeah, I could see like a team like say like the Pacers get on a run, and they like, okay, we need somebody else to be able to score. Like when shit gets bogged down, because a lot of their points comes in transition, right? So they need somebody to be able to score in a half court set, right? So I can see them be like, okay, we need somebody else. We need one more person. To compare Devin Booker, like they were like the number 1 team, number 2 team in
five. No, I just looked it up.
Go ahead. Uh-oh.
The Phoenix Suns, if I'm not mistaken, in the 2021 season, that's the year they went to the finals, bro.
Yeah.
That's the year they went to the finals. So in that year, when he finished fourth in the MVP, he averaged 26.8, 4 and 5 on 38% shooting on 7 threes a game and 46 from the field. All right. You go ahead, 5.
I was just gonna say that's a number 1 team in the West, number 2, I believe. I don't know what they finished. Yeah, that he was the number 1 option on that team. I don't even know how you kind of compare it. Like he's
and Monty Williams was the coach.
Yeah. A lot of things going against him. It still was able to
right.
Still was able to win games, but that's all I had.
Casper Taz says Shams mentioned the Wolves were interested in Ingram. Does that mean Griff was interested in Cat? I had heard that. What was that year, y'all, when we traded Devontae at the deadline? That
2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. So around that deadline, I had heard that the following offseason, that upcoming offseason, that Cat was probably a possibility. Yeah. That's why we was advocating for trading for Cat on the show. But the reason why he didn't trade for it, and it's like it made sense, but it's just like you just held on too long. You know what I'm saying? Like they were afraid of. Chris said this earlier. You're afraid of Cat's contract, right? But even Cat, that's not a drastic overpay. If you were willing to give Brandon $50 million, that's a inexplicable overpay. You couldn't justify. I always thought Brandon was overpaid on this current contract. I'm like, nah, I thought, it was more of a Jeremy Grant type level player. But man, this team is crazy. Malik Ball in that super chat. I don't know if it's true, but somebody said Jen Hail Mary. Oh God,
this shit's crazy
by the team. Hey, you thinking ahead, Malik? Thinking ahead, brother. Thinking ahead. Off the blank be shopping on Hims.com. Off the blank ain't going nowhere. So clearly, CJ. I think to some of our surprise, I know for mine. CJ is a person who's kind of piqued the interest of some players. I think contender may be interested in someone like CJ. I always thought of Cleveland or Orlando. Orlando's going through a lot of injury issues right now. Potentially even in Miami Heat, it would be a little more difficult for them. But what do you guys think about teams being interested in CJ? And who are some of the teams that you think could potentially be pursuing CJ?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's the usual players. It's a lesser version of what Five said at the beginning, where you have good teams, championship level teams, sniffing around, thinking they might be able to get CJ for real cheap. Right? Yeah. This is a team that's trying to free up money. That CJ's an older player, so
define cheap for us.
For two just like bad players.
The salary, pretty much. Salary number.
Yeah, I think so. Almost like CJ has another year left. I mean, I don't want to say bad players. I think it's probably more fair to say like players with either different skill sets or younger or like untapped upside, right? Like you think of like Orlando or something, right? Like would you take like Cole Anthony and Caldwell Pope? Like Caldwell Pope has been horrible since he's been there. Cole Anthony has fallen behind Anthony Black in the rotation. Like would that be enough with a second rounder or something to get them CJ? I personally wouldn't get anywhere close to that deal.
Yeah.
But that to me is like what teams are probably thinking. I look at a team like Golden State, right? Like, would you take spare parts from Golden State for CJ?
Nope.
We'll call it.
You mean like Looney and like
no, maybe even a better deal than that. Like maybe something like. But the problem is you're going to have to probably pick up long-term salary. Like, would you take Wiggins and Pods for CJ?
Yeah,
I would do that. I'm saying I would do that, but it's going to be something like that. Like, hey, these players might be good, but they have like some salary we really don't want to deal with long term, or they have an impending salary situation, right? Like even somebody like, like the Kuminga is an interesting one. It's almost like the Jabari Smith one, right? Like there are teams with players like that. That know right now they don't want to deal with the extension those players are due. So it's almost like I'll trade you a problem in a year for a solution, an old solution for me right now. And I'm just throwing shit against the wall. I hadn't put any thought behind any of these for CJ, but for me, that's what the deal is going to be for CJ. Nobody's coughing up 2 firsts for CJ.
Yeah. I think Orlando and Cleveland seem to have the most or the easiest avenues because they got players in that $10 million, $12 million, $15 million range. Put together a couple contracts.
But
what are you thinking?
Do you want them?
Yeah, I mean, you got Cole, you got Gogo. What's this guy, Wendell Carter Jr.? Because at this point with the Pelicans,
that's crazy.
I feel like you found your future starting center or at least co-starting center, right? So I don't think you need to take on a big salary center, but I do think you need to take on those mid-level contracts. Like you need a 15 million, 12 million. Because if you had more of those, then you wouldn't even have to entertain calls for Herb necessarily. Because now you got salary you could package and send out. What are you thinking, Five?
Nah, me and Ross was talking earlier and he said somebody he didn't mention. So I'm like, okay, well, the Michael Porter Jr.'s of the world.
Hey, right? I told y'all know that's to me, that's the deal.
Right, like that. I mean, that's the one that's really that fits his definition, like verbatim. Right, that's the problem for the Denver Nuggets. Futuristically, right, and that'd be an easy trade. All he does is shoot corner threes for them, right? Yeah. Doesn't necessarily do anything else. They don't require him to do. Not saying his skill set is diluted.
He can rebound too. He rebounds and shoots threes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, they need somebody else to be a somewhat of a self-creator in the second unit, right? Because that's the bulk of the minutes. Because Joker has to play so much because they can't do anything outside of that. So if CJ can run a second unit with say a Russell Westbrook, I think that'll look very, very, very good for them and very intriguing for the Pelicans, right? If you get somebody like Michael Porter Jr.
Would you take? Go ahead, Lito.
No, I was gonna say, the thing that sucks for the Pelicans is like we can dream of scenarios, we can dream of trades with other teams, we can talk about other teams and what they have to offer. I feel like the problem for the Pelicans is you still don't know who you want to be here as your core. Like you still don't have a buy-in from Zion, you still don't have a buy-in from Brandon, or know what the money or a trade is gonna look like for either one of those. So like if I'm offloading players, I guess word to Chaz, I need to figure out what the goal is. Is the goal, are we trying to compete right now, or are we gonna push this shit down, down the line for a year or two and try to figure it out?
Because that's that's a like a perfect offshoot to the second part of me and Five's conversation earlier, is that the interest in somebody like Michael Porter Jr. is, for me, a hedge against whatever you do with Zion long term, right? Because he's in theory somebody that has proven that they can play at the NBA level. I think still probably has some untapped upside, like outside of Jokic.
2 years left on his deal.
2 years left on his deal. So there are other things, but yeah, like just in thinking about it holistically, like does it make a lot of sense to bring in Michael Porter Jr. while you still have Zion on the roster, Trey on the roster, Herb on the roster, all these other players? Like maybe it's just like a talent infusion, but we know the coach can't handle that. The current coach in place. We know that you still have these other issues on the roster. And so it's like even at its base level, right, where we all kind of agree, like, yeah, this is probably the time to find a place for CJ. I still don't feel comfortable that we won't fuck it up because every move, in my opinion, should be move one of probably three before the end of this year. Like I can't even moving CJ for me is like, well, it just doesn't make a lot of sense if it isn't immediately followed up with sort of roster either reconstruction or reconfiguring. And I just don't trust these guys to do it.
I think they're going to look to stay competitive, honestly, just because of you just extended Trey. Herb's pretty much locked up. Zion is still, I mean, for all his shit, he's still pretty much locked up. You got your center, he's locked up. They have a core, they just don't have reliable stars necessarily. And I think if I were them, I would just look to kick the can another season until not with this current team, because time and stuff like that is running out. But let's say a person like a Zach LaVine or Michael Porter Jr., contracts that you still have a year or two to move off of. Like Zach LaVine is having a great year this year by his standard, because he's been hurt, stuff like that. He's been healthy, he's looking more athletic than ever. But he's having a great year. So he's at about what, 43 million right now? Something crazy.
It's a big number, yeah.
It's a big number. But you could trade for him with like Brandon, and let's say you want to add Daniel Tice or JRE, and you can make the money work. And you still got to find a way out of the tax. So I think you have to trade Brandon and CJ this year. Like you got to go into the offseason with at least the ability to make some deals. Like you got to go into the offseason with at least some type of flexibility. Like trade wise, because it's you're not getting free agents.
It's funny. I know we just kind of went through this exercise with Denver talking about CJ, but what if Denver said, nah, CJ's great, that'd be cool, but we really want Herb
for Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, if they said we want to make the money, we need another person that can help us score when Jokic isn't in. We want Brandon and Herb. You know what? I was about to ask y'all, would y'all be uncomfortable throwing Hawkins in a deal with CJ for Michael Porter Jr.? But no, Brandon Herb is overpaid to me. No, I'm saying, but you'd get more from them. You'd get
picks and shit.
No, you'd probably get. I would want if that was the deal. I'd want Braun.
Yeah.
And I'd want Michael Porter Jr. and then you could throw in like Zeke Naji to make the salaries match.
Let me get Watson or something.
You probably could. I mean, think about just for a second how much better that makes. Like in theory, like I think if you put CJ and Brandon with Jokic and a healthy Murray and Aaron Gordon,
I ain't gonna lie, I would do it because I don't think that team would be good. Just knowing, because that's why I would do it. Yeah, Denver, because
I think they'll still be good, bro.
Because of Jokic.
Yeah,
one Jokic, but I like Michael Malone a lot, bro. Like the things that they do, it just makes sense, right? Now, would Brandon buy in? Would be the other question.
That's why I'm saying it though, because Murray ball dominant, Jokic ball dominant. Let's just presume Russell Westbrook's still there. It gets weird.
But the other thing you have to think about from their perspective and why I think they would probably be more interested in Brandon than maybe CJ to a certain extent is that's a $200 million roster on the books for next year. If the Brandon thing doesn't work out, they just let him walk.
Yeah.
See ya. And then it gets them back, and it gets him back into a better
second apron.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would get them almost back to maybe 160 million on the books for next year, and you'd still have. That's why I said it would be Brandon and Herb, because then you'd still have Herb, who in theory fits with Jokic, fits with Murray, is able to cover up some of the bad things Murray does. Like, I think for the Nuggets perspective, it makes a lot of sense because again, if it doesn't work, it gets you out of salary hell. And right now, they are in salary cap hell with a team that let's be honest. I don't think their current roster can win again.
No,
even as great as Jokic is. I mean, he's unbelievable. They have to do something.
They age really fast.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, y'all. In that proposed deal, let's just say with Denver, right? Because I think that deal makes a lot of sense that Ross just presented. Who do you think gets the diamond in that deal?
See, again, like it all depends on who's coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Coaching us.
Yeah. Who's coaching?
Yeah.
I could be like Michael Porter Jr. is the diamond. I can make myself believe that. I know what I saw. I know there's potential. I mean, he just put in this role with Denver, and he's been able to play it really well. So you telling me that guy couldn't be your number one option? Yeah, I think I could trick myself, but does he have the right coaching around him? I don't know if he's gonna have that here yet.
I think Michael Porter Jr. I think we forget not us personally, but I think people forget one thing when you think about him. That dude is not gonna stand for the bullshit either.
Oh yeah, that dude crazy.
He's not gonna stand for the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yo, I remember in the bubble when his rookie year, when they went on a losing streak or some shit like that, and like he was demanding them dudes be better. Like that shit was insane to me. And not only that, he wanted to take the final shots. And we're on the team with Jokic and at that time a prime Jamal Murray, and he wanted to take the final
tear.
He was killing, bro. That series with them in Utah.
Yeah.
And he was, anyways. And Porter was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to take the closing shots. I want to be the person to do that. I want to ask y'all a question too, but I want everybody to answer Chaz's question also. Do y'all feel like what you see with her, right? Like coming back from injury and immediately winning the game with him, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's another, like Five said Mike Malone, let's say Spoelstra, let's say whatever other good coach there is, Ty Lue, right? Is there another level to Herb? Do you believe that Herb has any like Draymond Green for real? He could be the centerpiece, the defensively a centerpiece of a championship team, and not just like defensively, but distributing the basketball. If you gave him more responsibilities, would he acquire more value?
I think so, right? I've been saying this a lot. I think there's two routes Herb could take, right? I think he can be Bruce Bowen, right? Like if he just like, all right, I'm just shooting corner threes and I'm locking up your best defender, and best offensive player. Super 10, 15-year long career. I can be on a championship team 2 or 3 times. I think that's a route he could take. Or I think there's times where he could be your initiator. He could be your your center point where guys are cutting off him and he's making plays off that. If it came to that, Tony Allen, I think he's better offensively than Tony Allen. But his ability to get downhill, I think with a different coach, he'd be implored to try to get to the cup a little bit more rather than just sitting in a corner. Somebody probably teach him how to screen better. Like there's just so many other things that Herb could possibly do. I think he has untapped potential, but just it won't be untapped here under Willie Green's guide.
Ross?
Yeah, I mean, I see this comment on the screen. I can't tell whether it's.
He's joking. He's joking. He always joking.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think about it like this. Can Herb ever be the best player on a championship team? No. Can he ever be the second best player on a championship team? No. Can he be the third best player on a championship team? I don't think so. So you're like, can he be the fourth? And you go through that exercise for me, and I don't know how much more. Like, is there some aspect of his game that can be unlocked with better coaching? Like, probably, but to what extent? Like, is Herb ever going to average 20 a night? I don't think so. Is he ever going to be like? Is he ever going to be initiating the offense on a good team? Like, I'm not sure. I don't see that. I mean, I think in on the right team with the right coach, you might see some other aspects of his game, like maybe flourish or like manifest himself more often. But I'm not sure how much more there is to Herb's like total game than what you're seeing right now. And I could be wrong. I think he's better than like a Tony Allen though, for sure. But I just don't know that I don't know that he goes from where he is now to like, what would be the next, like, give me a comp for like the next thing.
And to that point, Ross, it's not necessarily like his game just improving. I think the impact will be felt more on a good team, right? Everything just gets lost because the team sucks, right? Everything he does gets lost. Like, you don't like, oh, okay, Herb made a really good play. But if it was a really good team, a tip, pause, Herb getting out to a basketball, that tip actually becomes a steal, and that steal leads to points. On the Pelicans, that ball just knocked out of bounds. Yeah. That's really the difference between really good teams and,
I agree with you there.
Lower level teams.
I don't disagree with that.
I think you almost need Herb to become
oh Lord, Jesus Christ.
All right, this is
all right.
Blasphemy.
I think you almost need Herb to become Derek White. Okay. I think in a way where the league is now, I don't care how good you are defensively, you're not stopping the best of the best. And I think we've kind of seen that this season already. Like, even with Shea, like Herb can't do nothing with Shea. Like, nobody can. Like, it don't matter who you are. Rudy, like Rudy Gobert. People talk shit about Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert's an excellent defender, but he can't do shit with Zion. He know what he gonna do every time, but he just can't do nothing with him. And I think that gets to the point where defense, you think, like Michael, for example. Michael was able to excel offensively, but his defense suffered as a result. Mm-hmm. Now he's kind of in a limbo to where his defense still isn't like back to where it was, but he is still a better offensive player. Herb would have to take about 2 steps forward offensively for him to be like, because I still wouldn't start Herb. Like, if all this team is healthy, to me, Herb's still not a starter.
I agree.
So, I think Herb is probably. I think Herb could do a lot of great things with the backup unit and in closing units, but I think the 3 would have to become consistent. The rebounding has to be a lot more consistent. You almost need Herb to become, and this is not a popular guy on the show anymore, but you need him to become Josh Hart. Like, to me, Josh Hart is like a miniature version of Derek White, because Derek White gets blocks, he rebounds, he shoots. He's just incredible. And I think you really would need to see a lot of different things from Herb. And Herb's already 26. So it's like, well, damn, I'm sure he could do a little bit more, but I don't know how much more. And I know it would compromise his defense if he had a larger offensive load, I would think. You about to say something, Rob?
No. I'm with you. The Derek White one's an interesting for me, and it goes back to that whole point of me of I don't think Herb can be like Derek White is initiating the offense for the Celtics a lot of times. If you watch their games, like he's getting them into sets, like he's doing a lot of. I just don't know that Herb has that kind of handle. I mean, I'm trying to think right now. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen Herb take a jump shot off the dribble, like one-on-one isolation. Like, I don't know how much of that like he can do, and it's not that he needs necessarily to be able to do that with regularity, but I could just see it not looking good. To your point, I could see the defense suffering, and I could see almost like the things he's good at on offense, which in theory a coach would be better. A better coach could help him get in more advantageous cutting situations, could accentuate the fact that he's really good off the ball. Like there are other things that I think he does well now by himself that he could do better. But I think if you just started adding shit to Herb's plate, I'm not sure that we would like what the product ultimately looks like.
Let me ask you this: do you think Herb could be as impactful as Lu Dort? If let's say if
absolutely.
Zion
I think he's more impactful than Lu Dort right now.
Yeah.
Oh, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just because I've never seen. Now again, we're talking about.
I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought that up. But finish your thoughts.
Yeah, I just never seen him do to another player what happened to Brandon.
Yes, you did. Oh, he's eating Paul George. He's eating Paul George alive.
Yeah, but see,
to me, alive. I've seen him make people look bad now.
But I'm talking about like. Now, here's the thing with Lu Dort. I ain't never seen Lu Dort really do that to anybody other than Brandon. Like, That's the crazy part, right? But it's like, I just feel like none of that shit really be mattering, dog. Like, I just don't, because you not stopping Luka. Like, all the teams you would see in the playoffs, it ain't nothing you gonna do with them. Like, it's nothing you gonna be able to do with them. And like, we just saw Herb versus Shea in the playoff, like we just saw it, and Herb might as well not even been out there.
Yeah, we
just saw it the other day. So,
one, because they're just an offensively good team. Like I think other than like you, it's not just guarding Shea, right? It's guarding all of it at the same time. Shea's just
screens, everything.
Yeah, you don't know what they're actually trying to do all the time, because Shea just might be a decoy, right? Just trying to move Herb out the way. And then a lot of the times, right, we can go back to previous instances where this pre-playoff game, like Herb shut down Shea a whole half. And then the second half came and he ended up with 30. Like, it's hard to stop a guy like that for an entire game, especially on a team that everybody has the ability to dribble, pass, and shoot on. And I think that's where you would see like Herb's ascension on a team where everybody has the ability to do the exact same thing. Here, it's super limited. It'll always been limited. It's easy to guard when you know where guys are going to be. You know what they want to do. They're one-dimensional. And I think a lot of guys on the Pelicans right now are one-dimensional. They only do one specific thing well. You look at the Celtics, they have a ton of guys that do multiple things very well. Look at OKC, they have a ton of guys that do multiple things very well, and they all have the green light to do so in reason.
So let me ask y'all, y'all think Dyson does more than Herb right now? I mean, I know Kirk Snyder is great, but do y'all think like at this stage Dyson has surpassed Herb, or do you think it's kind of like Dyson still really ain't that good? Like
I think as an own ball defender, he's better than Herb. But I think Herb just does so many other things. Like Herb don't even like for instance, taking nothing away from Dyson, but Dyson technically, if he's not on whoever has the ball, he's not gonna make a difference in that possession. Like Dyson's a better rebounder than Herb, but Herb Jones is kind of like a person who doesn't even have to be directly involved in the play to get the stop. Like he just does. It's more nuanced, I would say. Like you see bait and switches with Herb. You know what I'm saying? You see him bait guys into making bad passes. Dyson is more, again, he's more of an on ball defender. Like he's gonna get a steal, he's gonna get a block, he's gonna make it tough for you. Herb is kind of intrinsically guarding 5 people at one time.
Yeah, I'm with Lito.
It's gonna be interesting. Go ahead, Fi.
No, I'm just saying I'm with Lito on that. To Gross' point, we've had this conversation multiple times. Like the difference between like Herb and Dyson on ball is very marginal, right? I think Dyson's a better on ball defender. I think he's stronger. His ability to get deflections in a one-on-one situation is truly elite. But I don't think he's so much better than Herb on ball. But off ball, Herb is magnificently better than Dyson off ball. Like he sees multiple things happening at once. Dyson at times would get lost in certain situations. He's been better in Atlanta, of course, but Nah. That's where the difference really is. It's like his help side defense is otherworldly.
Scott with the club said, I just hate that Griff talked about culture first and flip Dyson. Dyson practiced hard, good off the court, did everything right at 18, 19 total pro. We flip him and keep low culture fits. Yeah.
So I can address that, Chaz?
Go ahead.
I tweeted this earlier too. I don't think people understand, and this is not a shout out to Scott without cloud. I don't think people understand though. Like you trade Dyson because you got a better player in DeJounte. The caveat with that is if you don't trade Dyson, you probably have to trade Herb in order to make that deal happen, right? So it's like, which one do you prefer? Which one would you be more comfortable getting rid of? I feel like they made the best decision in that trade. I guess people see Dyson's success, and I just don't feel like he's doing anything differently than he did here, to be honest.
Hey, hold on. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say.
I wasn't about to say that. Go ahead.
To Toledo's point, imagine trading a guy that just won the first team all defense for DeJounte. It just really wouldn't have been right. Like it really would.
You do that for a trade, but you don't do it for
exactly. That's the one. Like you would have done that for Trae Young, but you don't do that for DeJounte. Like you don't. So that's like the difference level of what you're going to give up. If we would have got Trae Young, cool. Herb just would have had to go.
I think Scout makes a good point. I think more so the fact that DeJounte and Herb both got hurt, like almost right away. And since DeJounte's been back, it's been more down than up. Pause. Like his shooting hasn't really set the world on fire. Your defense been a little questionable. It's getting better as he gets his legs and he gets his conditioning back, learns to play with the rest of the team. But like it could not have looked like any worse for Dyson when he was here, and right now it can't look any worse for David Griffin in that trade just because Dyson's been healthy. The Hawks are winning. If the Pelicans were healthy and winning, you probably wouldn't even be thinking about Dyson, to be honest. And Dyson didn't fit the timeline necessarily. That's why it gets interesting. That's why I don't even think the Pelicans can realistically like tank with some unless they trade a Herb not tank. They can't totally rebuild unless they trade a Herb, and you even may entertain trading Trae to a degree because it's like, all right, guys getting a little older now, 5, 6, 7 years in the league. Now they're starting to make big money. You know what I'm saying? Hawkins, I think he's 22. Boston's about 22. Guys are just the team's getting older. So you gotta like pick a direction and lean into it. What up, Chance? Go ahead, Ross.
No, while we're on this Herb little segment, and we were talking about Oklahoma City earlier, like you go look at Oklahoma City's cap sheet. And you start thinking about, well, what would someone be willing to give up for Herb?
On Oklahoma City? Or are you saying in general?
And you go and then you go look at a team like Oklahoma City that understands what they're doing, identifies players like this and knows how to utilize them. Caruso hadn't worked out all that great. He's off the books next year anyway, so you kind of have a gap.
He was there.
Right, exactly. Right now you're starting Cason Wallace. Herb clearly is an upgrade over him. What if a team like that calls and they've got a wonderful cap sheet right now. They have got rooms to make. Oh, and they own 10 first-round picks over the next 3 years. That team calls and says, hey, I might be able to help you, Debo, for the right price. If that team calls and says, what about 2 firsts for her? What y'all think about that?
2 firsts? Who's first?
It would depend. I mean, that's where the negotiation is. Right? But I'm saying it. But this is when you start to think about like, well, who would benefit from getting Herb? Who has the assets that maybe like some dispendable assets to get him? And there's a win-win there. What if somebody like Oklahoma City called your bluff and said, you know what, man, Herb would fit real nice with what we got.
See, it's fucked up. The thing with Herb is, I believe Herb is more valuable to other teams than he is to the Pelicans as far as results. I mean, so I feel like of course another team would like get the best version. He would have such a marginalized role. Shit, if they call it 2 firsts in a swap, you gotta get traded, brother. I mean, it just is what it is because ain't no superstars available right now. You don't know who's going to be available in the offseason, but the question becomes, in the offseason, is Herb more valuable than that package you got from OKC in this upcoming offseason? Because the Suns got to do something. The Bucks got to do something. Like, a few teams got to do something. So it's like, I don't know. What y'all think?
You've been on this Suns thing, pause, for a minute, right? Like, what would that even look like, right?
Devin Booker, he said that deal?
Yeah, that one.
Man. See, in the offseason, it would be a lot more difficult, right? Because the Suns are also a second apron team. So they got to go dollar for dollar. Or, they can't take back more money and they can't aggregate salaries. So I think it would have to be, I can't see that. Who's somebody 9-3?
Somebody asked my handicap. I'm a 9. Whoever asked.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I'm Scorpio, but okay. But for Devin Booker, it would have to be, in an ideal world, it would have to be Brandon, Herb, Hawkins. I would trade Brandon, Herb, Hawkins, and 4 firsts for Devin Booker.
When do you need to do that then by? Like, right?
I think you might be able to do it in the offseason. Like, maybe, but their contract situation is fucked up. He said, why would Devin Booker want to play? Have you seen Devin Booker when he played here? Devin Booker really from like Mississippi, or his people from like Mississippi, or he got roots.
His dad is from Mississippi. He grew up. Matter of fact, he played high school basketball down here.
It's Devin Booker. Devin Booker play anywhere.
Yeah, he a hooper.
Yeah, it ain't like Phoenix is no market. His first 7 years, he never went to the playoffs in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he said it. He said, in a matter of fact, when I interviewed him, he said his first NBA game he ever went to was at the Smoothie King Center.
Oh wow! Hey, bring him home.
Yeah, he always brings like his high school to watch an NBA game.
Oh man, see, I ain't never heard Zion doing that. I ain't never heard Brandon doing that. This man is a man of the local community. Bring him home. We're gonna get to the fan questions, man. You fellas had anything you wanted to bring up or address, or throw out there, any hot takes?
I just want to ask y'all this question, get your opinion on it, because again, when you start looking at really CJ trades, but Herb trades too, teams that would be interested. Do y'all think, would you, I guess this is the first one, would you, and do you think the organization, would they trade either of those players in the division? Because I think Memphis would be interested in both. I think Houston would be interested in both, and I think Dallas would be interesed in both.
We had a lot of things about Dallas.
But do you think the team would trade either of those players in the division if they traded them at all?
Who you talking about? What player? Herb and who?
Herb or CJ?
I think they would probably trade one of them, and I think that would be Herb. But to be honest, I think Herb has the bigger impact if traded in the division. I think it would actually be a mistake if they did it, but I think he'd have a really good change of pace in Houston, even Memphis, and especially Dallas. Like it'd all be good. Like Herb is the player that I think can play on any NBA team.
Yeah, I agree. He's plug and play everywhere.
Well, let me ask you,
does Ross not look like a goddamn Mickey Mouse character?
Oh, with that thing with that old bubble? Yeah. I just noticed when you said that. What would y'all want from Dallas in that situation? Because Dallas don't got a lot.
They don't have anything I want. They don't have anything. But Herb for Jabari, I'm listening.
He's been this dude right here, bro.
Herb for Jabari, I'm listening.
My deal was Brandon for Jabari and Dylan. Now it's Jabari and any salary.
I'm definitely listening to that. Shit, I'm more than listening to that.
I think they would do deals in the division though, because they traded Steven Adams to the Grizzlies, traded JJ to Dallas. I think they had another deal. Oh, and remember Griff called earlier trying to trade Brandon for Sagoon early in the offseason.
You're right.
What
didn't
y'all?
think about
Shout out
that.
to Real Talk Tone. I'm guessing he a Cavs fan. Appreciate you in here, bro. Say what y'all want from the Cavs for Herb. So Lito, what you want from Dallas and the Cavs, Lito?
I mean, it's unrealistic, but like Dallas, shit, the only thing they got is I want Lively. Like if we being delusional, like
Nah. Hey, I mean, not really, because they got Gafford, they got who else they got? They got Maxey, they got Dwight Powell. I think Maxey and Dwight Powell, same person. But they got
both ass.
Yeah, both terrible. One cheek and other cheek.
Yeah,
terrible. But
the
Cavs.
Cavs are tough. The
Cavs don't got nothing on wire. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean,
it'd have to be.
I need Tyrone and picks.
It's gotta be delusion for me. You know what I'm saying? Like
gotta be a bunch of picks.
I think if I had to, like, my delusional pick is Evan Mobley, right? But like if I had to like be realistic, I'd say, I mean, Isaac Okoro, Ty Jerome, you know what I'm saying? Couple picks.
I was about to ask you that. Didn't they just extend Isaac Okoro?
Yeah,
they kind of he's kind of close to her, not quite the defender, of course.
Yeah, but it ain't. You know what I'm saying? It's in the same round.
Yeah. What about I that's the thing. Like I just feel like Cleveland just really front ran this season. They front ran a lot, and they like, who you gonna get? LeVert, Strauss.
You'd have to take
Yang.
You'd have to take that young cat and picks, Jalen Tyson or whatever, and some picks. But it's not real appetizing.
5. Who would you want from Dallas? If it, y'all hit that like button, we 7 away from a hundo.
Yeah, get that up. Damn, man. I don't know. Dallas really just doesn't have much. They don't. I like they're raising a budding superstar under the wraps, right? Like everything just fits around Kyrie and Luka Paul. So like, it have to be Lively. Just being honest, like that's the first thing you would say. I mean, you can't have Naju back. Don't want PJ Washington. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Dallas did a kind of a disservice. They need to be having somebody else, right? Some young guard, wing-esque.
They looking
having some kind of tutelage under them too, so you could sign this 5. No, Dallas, the city is fire.
Oh yeah, Dallas, nice. No, and there's no state tax. Shout out to Justin Napoli in that super chat. First time caller.
What he say? Regular listener, first time caller.
Is Miami a trading option for who, Justin? You mean for? I'm presuming he's talking about for Herb. I don't know what Herb does for them though.
It probably gets a little better. But I don't know. Like he doesn't like.
Are they buyers or sellers?
Y'all think we thinking too small? Y'all think that maybe like, but dog, I'm just thinking it ain't a lot of superstars left, dog.
That's a real issue though, Chaz. That's a league wide issue.
See, Justin saying for Herb and BI, right? And 5, what were you saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, that's a league-wide issue. There aren't a lot of superstars or budding superstars left. Just a bunch of guys playing basketball. But yeah, everybody's getting paid as if they're some kind of superstar. I mean, what's the dude in Miami, the white dude that thinks he's black?
Tyler Hero.
Like if that's what we got to look forward to, cool. Like, another 22, 23 point per game scorer. This is almost mimicking what, like, well, you might as well keep Brandon then. I don't know.
Because the league is so, like, if they ask me Herb and BI for Scotty Barnes, I would hesitate a little bit because I'm like, Scotty Barnes.
Hey,
I like Scotty, but Scotty's like a ways away.
Hey, he turned.
I would do it. Like I said,
you said Herb and who?
Herb and Brandon. Let's say they call Miami right now. Now this wouldn't happen.
You mean Toronto?
Yeah, I say Miami. I'm tripping. Toronto call right now. Herb and Brandon for Scotty.
Yes, I say yes, and I hang up before they have a chance to say.
He said, Herb, damn.
You're talking about like a legit 10-year upcoming All-Star for Herb and Brandon. Brandon's gone in 2 months anyway. I hang up. I say yes and hang up before they change their mind.
Bruh, I wasn't high
And
on
then
Scotty Barnes. I wasn't high on Scotty Barnes at all, dog. Like he totally changed my approach to how I view his game. Like he turned it into something, dog. He been averaging double-digit assists. He been rebounding the basketball.
That coach got them dudes playing though. That coach got them dudes playing.
But I just want. Oh, my fault.
No. Go ahead, Lito, finish.
I just wanted to say, like, I think as far as the Miami front, you know, we always talk about Herb Jones never had a rim protector, right? So you put him with Bam while the shooter not there, like that should be, you know what I'm saying? That'll be an issue for me. Miami, the only thing, I mean, if you're not moving CJ, you already have CJ and DeJounte. So like maybe Rozier's out the picture, but like man, Jaime Jaquez, yeah.
I think you would have to tell Miami, look, what y'all sending Jimmy Butler? Y'all sending Jimmy Butler to Houston? All right, cool. I'm sending Brandon to y'all. Tell Houston to give me Jabari and give me some salary. Like that's how you would have to do it. Like that's the thing. Brandon and Herb alone ain't enough to get you a super duper star, and it ain't many of them. So it would have to be a 3-team deal. And boy, this is a terrible situation to be in for a team.
I wanted to mention, I think Scotty Barnes is the closest thing we'll see to Giannis. To be
shoot better already too,
right? Like I was nervous at first, like Lito, right? I was nervous because I thought he was going to be like Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons was really good. Ben Simmons was really good initially, right? Wow. They went to the same high school. I'm like, I hope it's not like the same, like mental makeup to a certain degree. But you can see like dude likes to hoop. He gonna block shots. He gonna play defense. They have a really good coach, really good system. Toronto does a really good job of developing players. It's just sometimes it always just doesn't work out, right? Like a guy just leave and go somewhere else. But man,
they got RJ Barrett looking good out there.
Yeah.
High taxes. People don't want to stay. It's tough.
Tough. What, in Toronto?
Oh yeah. Super high tax rate.
All right, so
we don't want to stay up there.
We're gonna get into the fan questions now. Y'all send y'all super chats, hit the like buttons, anything, the star questions, donate to the congregation. We're gonna start off with Lito. Would you take 4 firsts from a team like the Bucks or Miami? I'm presuming he's talking about Herb.
Absolutely. What?
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy. Like people like Donovan Mitchell got traded for 4 first-round picks. Like,
shit, I'd take a first in 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Honestly, and it's not an indictment on Herb. I just know what you are here in New Orleans. I know how you're going to be used here. I think Herb is the final piece to a championship team, not necessarily, what we using him here.
We got it. You agree? Like, I'm not trying to like bash David Mobley or anything, but like you really have to reset expectations if you think 4 first for Herb is like even in reality, like somewhere close to reality.
I think you're looking at Royce O'Neal type prices, probably a first and another protected first or a swap type.
Yeah,
thing.
like not even close.
Yeah. So
didn't Devontae get traded for like 4 seconds or something?
4 seconds.
Yeah. Well, you have to pay to get rid of his ass.
Yeah.
Sucks to be a tax team. Let's say we got Malik Ball. Say we could have gotten Cat for BI. By the way, when we talked about that, David Griffin's a lusty man. Say we got Flight Mizart. He said 5. How come Brandon for DeJounte wasn't a thing?
I don't know why. They probably. I thought we.
I got an idea.
Yeah, I got an idea. I think they probably.
It takes 2 to tango. One didn't want to tango. I mean,
go ahead. Answer.
Atlanta didn't want his chump ass. Like, what you mean? They got Jalen Johnson. They knew they were about to draft old boy, this other wing first overall. Like, they didn't want him. I mean,
it's a shame he's the first round pick. We don't even know this motherfucking name. I think it's starting with an L.
Don't they have Rissashare or whatever his name?
Yeah, Rissashare. He's all right. He's been looking all right lately.
Yeah.
He look like the Barge brothers. This is a bunch of light skinned cats running around.
Yeah. He look like maybe Bobby. But
they play a fun brand.
All right. Let me see. Herb, last month we were talking to Mavs about Lively. Herb name was mentioned. Obviously, Lively doesn't make much sense now. Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Shit. Because Messi ain't as quite the starter yet. I saw fucking Lively dribbling the ball up the court, doing the shoot, like doing all kind of shit.
Can shoot corner threes.
Yeah, can shoot. Yeah, got that. Yeah, I don't think he impedes, Messi's development. And they were hot. One thing about David Griffin, he's a stalker freak. He's a gorilla freak. He don't let up easy. Like if he likes somebody, he stalk them for years. He's stalking for years, and he was after Lively. Like he was after Jabari too. He's after Jabari. He don't let up easy. He's a gorilla freak. But so yeah, who's next? IMX. Lito, you think having Eve? Do you think Eves has Giannis potential? He's averaging more points than rebounds compared to his rookie season. More points and rebounds compared to his rookie season.
No, I understand. I get it though. I understand. I'm not go bash the comment because
yeah, that's ridiculous. It's just that's the untrained eye that says something like that.
I think we should lower expectations a little bit.
Yeah,
this is a smidge, but I do think he could be very good.
Yeah, I think he'd be very
Giannis.
Not Giannis, but
I'm about to get off this shit. Yuck. IMX.
Hold on.
Ross almost threw the headphones.
Yeah, he about to throw them bitches.
If Brandon. Yo, this is a great comment, bro. You let Brandon not get that money because of Lou Dort.
Yep.
Why you let Lou Dort? Man, fuck that. Fuck that. This is crazy. This man caught. Nah, you gotta holler at Lou Dort. You gotta holler, Brandon. You know what I mean. You gotta call up a couple of guys. Bow. Go see about this guy.
Let him do it.
Yeah,
let him do it.
Let him do it.
I'll be ready. I was indeed not ready. 5 say I was laughed out the chat when I saw comparison to Elijah.
No, y'all gotta stop with the foolishness, dog.
Yo,
like,
nah. My thing is, why people don't aim lower? Like why?
No, we talked about this.
You could have even said Siakam. You go straight to Elijah one.
They can't compartmentalize like people. It's like you gotta go race, you gotta go like countryman, continent,
man. Like town.
It's a nice move by Eve. It's a very nice move. Turn, face.
See,
it's a really nice move.
See how AD said that? It's a very nice move. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like what happened to? That's nice.
It's like the first season Herb Jones Kawhi Leonard comparison.
Bro. Damn. That Spaces was crazy.
Let's see.
Shout out to Spaces, man.
Shout out to Spaces. 5, my dog, but you slander Bojangles' name, son. That Blueberry biscuit goes hard. Pause. I ain't know Bojangles had all that.
A Blueberry biscuit?
That sounds so racist, dog.
Blueberry biscuit. I was like, is this gang vernacular? Is this like a blood? Like at first I was reading it, I was like, this sounds like some blood shit. Blueberry biscuit.
That junk was mid. I can't do it. Not gonna be able to do it.
That shit read like segregation, man. Like
I thought he was about to let's get it Bracken. B team. We got Corey in the joint. He said, shit, I barely trust Laffy food. BR has better food than Laffy.
I knew 5 was gonna react to that.
Oh man, come on now, dog. Come on now, man. Come on. Cole, if you're still in the building,
Oh, man.
You really know that's not true. You gotta know that's not true. You gotta know that's not true, bro.
I knew
it's disrespectfully not true either. Like it's not just not true. It's like you went way too far.
I like BR. And I love BR. I love my people. I do. You restaurant wise, like let's just put it restaurant wise. We're not gonna talk about people in their houses, like what certain people cook. We're not gonna do it. Restaurant wise, it's not even close. It's not even close. Like leave it alone. I mean, let Lafayette and New Orleans have that argument as they do multiple times on the internet.
That shit is tiring, bro.
Weekly. But BR, come on now, dog. They skip y'all for a reason.
Opelousas got the best food.
I ain't gonna never find out. So.
Opelousas got something better than food out there.
Nah. Now we talking.
I ain't never. I was so honest, bro.
Kel Lewis, if the Pelicans offered Brandon $50 million, how much would you think they'd offer DeJounte in that extension? The door.
I don't even want to think about that.
Hey, man.
Like, oh man, good luck to you. I don't think. Nah. I think you will be moving on by DeJounte's next extension. I understand. All right, shout out to Denzel Horton.
Where'd you find that?
Brandon is a $22-25 million player. I agree.
I see you, Ross. My fault, sir.
Now y'all good. Y'all good. Y'all agree with Denzel? What y'all think? Brandon 22 M's 25.
He is what he gets negotiated for.
Yeah.
Two off seasons ago, at this point, apparently he was offered somewhere near close to $50 million. At that point, he would have been a $50 million player. Until he negotiates something else, that would be his value.
That's crazy.
You know what? I feel like I feel like Brandon just overthought it and had a Cole Brown moment. Y'all remember when Martin thought Gina was trying to kill him because they had $2 million insurance policy on him? And Cole said, for $2 million, I kill myself. I think Brandon looked at the contract and said, I'm going to fire myself. Like, you crazy as a motherfucker.
Y'all think there was ever a point like short? Because I'm assuming these things happen in like in some kind of formal atmosphere. Like, hey, not just like word of mouth. Like, hey, man, we could do 200 type of thing. Like, I'm assuming there was some kind of paper and like an exchange and a decline. Like, I can only imagine like 2 months went by and they had to call back and be like, hey, what's good with that 50? What's good with that? I know we had turned it down like 3 months ago, but
right.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that 50 again, though. And they were like,
What I heard, right, and was reading, this grain of salt, was most of the money was like, oh, that's in the bag. You got that. And you could only get more money from here. Right? The 40, that's don't even worry about it. Like that's in the bag. It can only go up from here. Pause. But you should take this 40. Like, nah, I'll take what I'm giving you. Like, nah, I'm gonna go and try for all NBA. Go ahead.
Let them do it.
Play well.
Why did it feel so reminiscent of Boogie Cousins? Like,
it's a very
almost inverse, but like, damn.
And Boogie was Boogie, like, so why would you? It's a different time, I guess. It's just because, again, they said not only are you not getting that money, you're not getting what you making now. Like, what the fuck? But Lito, Scout the Cloud, I bet they got a BID already done, just waiting on the 15. I bet we won't get a good returns, hence the Herb rumors. I hope you're right.
I wouldn't be surprised, Scott. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Being as though, everybody in the front office got an extension that, we still don't have the numbers on. We still don't have the figures on. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, and shit, I've been saying since before that OKC series, he not going to be traded. And this, I feel like this further confirms it.
They probably told David Griffin, will you take Grant Williams and not Holla? Because that's the deal, brother. And look, I'm like, hey, Grant, maybe we all right next year. Why did we get rid of Teaspoon? Some people in the building just wasn't like fans of her coaching thing. She was people in a whole nother league, not necessarily a fan of her coaching, but some people in the building just weren't fans of her coaching.
That was a good way to put it.
Yeah, political. I mean, shame my dog though. Jeff Whitey. I can't believe I said that day. CJ for that short Asian on the Grizzlies.
It also feels racist, but
that the Grizzlies got a fire backup center, man. I cannot think of this dude's name. But what's his name?
Jay Huff.
Huff. Who jumping out the gym.
The white
this dude, he's like a stretch five.
Yeah, bad built five man.
Yeah, looked like a seal.
Yeah.
Look like
Jay Huff.
Kids type shit.
Yeah. He's about to be a restricted free agent. That's interesting.
Crazy dog. He was just playing in the TBT tournament.
Oh wow. And that motherfucker, he was killing the Pelicans. Dog, I gotta go back and find that clip. That motherfucker did a weak ass shimmy on either Misi or JRE.
You might be talking about Santi Aldama.
Him. That's what I'm talking about. Santi Aldama.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Santi Aldama. He that motherfucker nice.
Yo, thank you, Whitey is crazy.
Oh, I got his last name.
He George Jefferson.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Moving on. See, we're 2 years too. This flight Mizark. We're 2 years too late moving Brandon at this point. Yeah, do y'all realize this, fam? We passed up on. Let's say you trade because you wanted to trade Brandon for DeJounte, right? But you couldn't. So you gave them 2 first. You turned down the number 2 pick for Brandon, right? So essentially, you turned down 3 firsts for Brandon already. You've already turned down 3 firsts. He turned down $50 million. You turned down 3 firsts. Now both of y'all is looking crazy. Like y'all deserve each other, though.
That's why you belong. That's why you belong to be together.
Together.
Exactly.
If Zion contract can be terminated with no repercussions for not meeting stipulation, why is it being sport to clear the books for next season? Because it doesn't necessarily work like that, Chris. You gotta. That's why even with Brandon, you will live with letting him walk, but just like that $36 million don't necessarily just disappear from the cap sheet. Like you'll still have ramifications, and you lose that player's bird rights. So that means you can't trade him to acquire another player's bird rights. So you can go over the cap. That's why it's always better to trade dudes like that instead of like letting them walk if you can. Y'all think anything happen in the coming days? It's 4 days till the trade deadline. I hope so. I hope we get that done. And I don't want Shams to make the announcement because he don't make good enough. But I hope that trade happens, bro. I really do. Y'all think anything happen? 3 no's?
No.
Ross? No. Hell no. All right. Serious question. Should the Pelicans not at all be entertaining for Lauren with the trades? Shit, you should be listening to trade everybody. Anybody they call for, you answer the phone. In my opinion, what y'all think?
Yeah. I just don't think anybody's I don't think anybody is entertaining trading for Zion right now. That's your problem.
Yeah. You don't even know when he's coming back. So
yeah, that's the problem.
Shout out to our dog Chung, man. If Zion went to the Celtics, he would be in MVP combos because of accountability.
Nah.
I don't know about MVP combos, but I do think he would have played better and been more available.
Nah, I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think MVP. He don't do a lot of MVP shit.
Yeah,
because to me, Giannis got not Giannis, him too, but Jokic got the bar up here.
Crazy.
Like, for MVP.
Crazy.
Now you gotta be a fucking video game character.
You gotta remember too, like everybody forgets this. Zion played 71 games last year and didn't make the All-Star team.
Yeah, he wasn't even an All-Star. So that's something to consider. So would you say Ingram is regressing, even though this should be his prime? If you look at 2023 playing game and his matchup against NC, he was averaging 32 points. Now he can't even move. It's a good question. Lito, you and Chris did a great show on that. What do you think? Shout out to Chris.
No, don't shout Chris out. I think I think when you say regressing, I think you gotta address. I think you're addressing it as like a future tense. He's regressed. Like, and I'm not saying that the talent is the talent change, but the things that the way he played changed. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't. If you go back and you look at that 2023. 2023. That was
I think she mean that playing game year
Oh,
before
okay.
last.
Yeah, that was a totally different player. It was more he had a more aggressive 3-point shot in his diet. He was getting to the rim a lot more. He was, you know what I'm saying, attacking the paint. He got stagnant in his play. And listen, I'm not mad at him, because if you got nobody to push the boundaries of your greatness as far as coaching, then you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be stuck in cement. You cemented. His feet were firmly planted in wherever his game was, and he didn't grow his game. So he was that playing year, he was great, bro. But what did he do post that? You didn't see him add a whole lot to his game either. As much as we say Zion didn't, he didn't either.
All right. We got this is a great one. Ross, what do you think? Say, I'm sorry, but that's a horrible take. Herb should be basically untouchable. Why would you bring in another guard when we've got Murray and CJ? I'd be resigning Brandon and trading CJ and Zion.
I mean, yeah, look, and that's cool with you. I mean, we're 5-20. You want to stay 5-20, then you should absolutely do exactly what you just said. I think you're absolutely right. When you're 5-20, you don't change anything if you want to continue to suck. So you seem like you have that figured out. I don't want to do that. I would like the team to be better. But if you want to be 5-20, hey, you know, that's on you, man.
All right. Here's it. You got Dustin Mayer. Yes, could one of y'all please explain to me what the Pelicans culture is? 5, you was in that building. What you think the culture is?
Shit, there is no culture. It's a bunch of if there is a culture, it's a bunch of lies, miscommunication, forefronting, backstabbing. It's a bunch of bullshit, bro. Don't believe nothing that you hear, because it's all a lie. It's all a lie. One day people speak to you, the other day they look right past you. It's all a lie. It's all for naught. Then you look at it as all a play, it's all a game. People saying one thing about one person, really, when they're trying to communicate to another person rather than just speaking to that person they want to communicate to. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Keeping it real. So we answered that one. What's the difference between Brandon Ingram and Jimmy, honestly?
Jimmy Butler went to the finals.
That's a good spot to end the show right here.
Years in a row.
That's a good spot to end the show.
Oh man, come on now, dog.
Yeah,
a playoff performer, man.
We just got a couple more. This is Nap. Will Zion play another game this year?
No.
And if he did, will it matter?
I don't think it matters now. If he came back tomorrow, I don't think it matters no more.
It doesn't matter for this year, but he'll play again.
They gotta go. I mean, me and Justin was talking the other day. I think it's like 42 and some crazy.
Like 42 and 20.
Yeah, for them to be at 500, right?
No,
that would be a little. That'd be a little
47 and. Nah.
Yeah.
I think the number probably changed by now. They probably got to go like 45 and something now. They fucking stink.
Falaurin, shout out to Falaurin, man.
45-17. Yep, good shout out to Falaurin. Shit, and Blue Jay, shout out to Blue Jay, consistent viewer. I know this isn't gonna happen, but y'all want Brandon back on a reduced 1+1 deal. All right, this is the last question of the show, y'all. I'm gonna pass this to y'all, and this ties into this. Would y'all want Brandon back at any price?
No.
Lito? Ross, all right, Ross. 5.
Ross, no.
Any price.
No.
Any price.
Well, not like that minimum, but let's say 25 million.
Again, it all starts with the coach. If the coach doesn't change, then you can't welcome Brandon back.
Lito?
I want to say no. I want to say yes, but I'm saying no, because I think at this point everybody needs a clean break.
Yeah.
Okay. This might surprise a few people, but there is a number I would be willing to bring Brandon back at. I'm lying, by the way. Nah, I wouldn't want him running back. He played for free. That's been today's show, man. We appreciate all y'all. It's time to move on. We're gonna hear. Well, I think we played everybody. Right? Played all our. So when is the next game? Anybody know? Thursday. The next game's coming up. We'll be here covering the team live. I'm hoping for another thrilling defeat. 5-21. Let's do it. Appreciate y'all. Be safe.
Yeah.